would hit this icon here and import or put your link in. I have already been working with this today, so it's already ready to go for us. And this is the site that we're going to be importing. But if it wasn't, then what we would do is we'd come back to Figma. We would hit I'm done connecting my file. We would match the screen sizes, and we'll double check that before we export. And then we would select this and hit export frame, just like so. Okay. And notice how our frame width is 1440 pixels. That's very important. We need to make sure that it's 1440 pixels on Wix as well. Okay. And then we can hit, and then we can hit export frame, and it will show up on the Wix side of things. Okay. And now mine is already set to 1440 pixels. Very important. Make sure it is set to 1440. Otherwise, you're going to run into issues. And then just with the click of a button, we're going to take that site on Figma, and it's going to come over here onto Wix Studio, lickety split like so. Okay. And it's actually looking really, really good. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and delete this, this header and this footer just like so. And yeah, now this is what we're working with up here. Now I'm pretty sure that these I was supposed to delete those, but they're not supposed to be up there. Anyways, so this is the design that we're working with now. Okay. And it's looking not too bad. I'm going to make some small tweaks on desktop, and then we're going to move into mobile and really start changing it up and make that layout that we had on Figma. So the first step that we're going to do is we have this big container out here, and it only has some, it has some of our elements in there, but not all of them. And as I was playing around with this earlier, I was wondering, why did it do that? And I'm not entirely sure, to be honest, but this is going to cause us problems. And this is just kind of one of those things that you just have to figure this out as you go along. If I hadn't done this beforehand, I'd be clueless as to why things aren't working right now. So it can take a minute, but all we're going to do is we're going to hit these three dots, and we're going to find remove container right here, and we're just going to remove that container. So all of our elements are free floating in section, right? You can see all of them floating away right here. Okay. So that's our very first step. Now, organizing your elements in Wix Studio is much like using what is it, auto layout in Figma. Okay. And so we're going to grab elements that are kind of like and put them together. So these three elements here, we're going to create what's called a stack. Okay. And all that stack is, it's a container, and it just lays out our elements in a particular way. In this case, in a vertical fashion. Now, I'm not a big fan of the amount of spacing here, so we can just drag this down like so, exactly the same to how you would in Figma. And you'll notice there's a lot of parallels between Wix Studio and Figma. Next, I'm going to drag this down just a tiny bit so it's center in our frame, in our section. And now we have this text section over here and our image. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab both of them, and I'm going to hit stack once again. This time it's going to be a horizontal stack instead of a vertical stack like we have here. And so this isn't actually changing anything on desktop yet, right? It all looks the same. And if we didn't stack it, you wouldn't be able to tell. But now we're going to come into tablet, okay? And it's going to look like this originally. It's just going to scale everything down. And even if we come into mobile, it's going to do exactly the same thing. This is not what we want, right? Everything's far too small here. We can't read anything. So let's come back up to tablet. We'll do tablet first, but we'll kind of breeze over tablet because it's, I would say, the less important breakpoint when compared to mobile. So we've done this, we have this horizontal stack now. And all I want to do is take this and move it to a vertical stack like so. So now everything is aligned in the right format. And generally, when you have two columns, you want to stack them for tablet and especially for mobile, just like so. Okay, now you'll notice that it is a little squished in, right? We want to pull that out. So we're going to come over here to the size panel. Now, Wix has introduced these pixel stars. They're special pixels. And I'm going to be fully honest, I don't love them. As a designer and a developer, I don't love working with them. So I'm just going to hit these three dots and toggle on advanced settings. You'll see me do this a lot actually, because I much prefer to work with the percentages here. Now we're going to set this to something pretty wide. Let's go 90%. But you could also use view widths or even calculations. If you wanted a set margin on the sides, you could type in a calculation so that you always have 30 pixels on the left or right, or any sort of pixel setting. Okay, so this is better, but not fantastic, right? So the first thing we're gonna notice is this is getting cut off at the bottom. We need to make our section longer here. So once again, I'm going to turn on advanced settings, and here we're going to use what are called viewport height. These viewport height units. You could use any units you want, but basically we just need to make our viewport a bit taller so that we can fit everything in there, just like so. And we'll probably come back and reduce this later. This is a little bit tall for right now. But anyways, so now we can come in and make this image a little bit taller like so. Now you'll notice that it's actually, okay, fantastic. It's decided to auto update. Sometimes it does auto update, sometimes it does not, okay? If it does not, and you're left with just this big section of part of your image and it's looking really weird, all you wanna do is come to this gear icon and hit reset image like so, and that'll move everything back to the way it was previously. This is a very important button. I didn't know it existed for a long time. Yeah, so just hit the gear icon, hit the reset button, you'll be good to go. Now, this is looking much better, but I want everything centered now. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna select our stack and come up here and just hit this button in order to center it. Why is it not centering? Oh, it's because I'm not selecting the stack. That's why. Here we go. Stack. There it is. And center it just like so. Okay. And then we'll come select the image, make sure you're selecting the right thing, and we'll also center that. Okay. So now the image is actually looking really good. We just need to work with our text a tiny bit. Now on desktop, or not desktop, on tablet, we're going to actually make this a tiny bit larger than the scaled pixels that we have right now, just because of the orientation and things. Now we've gone from two columns to one column. We can afford to make things a bit larger. So I'm going to bump this up to 32 pixels, probably something like that. We're gonna center it, and I am going to change the width down a little bit. Probably to something like 70% or so. Yeah, we just want it to have two good columns that we're looking at here. Two good rows, rather. And we'll center align that. Fantastic. Okay, now we have this tiny text down here. And, it's a little bit monotonous at this point. We're just going through centering things, making sure they all look good. I'm going to go through a little bit faster here because there's not, a ton to be looking at. But yeah. And then this text, we're going to center it. What is that? Vertically, rather than horizontally, so that it's centered within this container right here. And just like that, it's actually looking not too bad, right? Maybe we want to bump up the spacing a tiny bit. Like we want to move this down a bit. Oh, that's not working. But for the most part, oh, there we go. We just grab this and bump that up. For the most part, this is going to work pretty well for you. So yeah, let's move on to mobile now. And now that we've taken our two columns and broken them down into just a one column layout, things should actually look pretty good on mobile. Not fantastic, but better than nothing, right? Better than before, for sure, right? So now it's just a matter of changing things up, changing the sizes up for the most part, okay? So let's select our very largest stack and once again, bump up the width, probably to something like 95%. We want to, take advantage of the space that we do have here. Once again, we're gonna expand this image out and maybe it'll auto update, but it didn't in this case, actually, I don't think. So we'll just come here and hit reset image. And that is much better. Yeah, there we go. That's looking better. Okay, now we'll center this once again, and actually we could probably even afford to make it a little larger. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll grab this. Ooh, that's the wrong thing. There we go. Okay. Brandon, while I'm working away here, if you want to talk a little bit about the community and what we do, then feel free to.
Sure thing. So, for those of you guys who are watching, maybe for the first time or the last, or you've watched us a couple of times, if you've yet to join our community, you really should. If you guys have seen on both UI UX daily or yeah UI UX daily tips and daily web design, we have a monthly challenge that you guys should definitely join. We have a prize pool of over $2,000. And on top of that, it's not just about the prizes. The amount of people who join our monthly challenge and the people who we've started to see just do the challenge every month, they've improved their work, their portfolio, their skills, and even some people have been able to, using their challenge submissions, get work up to $10,000 just by sharing their work on LinkedIn. And people got really not just recognition, but people were really surprised about what you can do within Wix Studio. And our community is all about Wix Studio. Obviously, we do and incorporate all other worlds of design, but we're really fixated on tools that help you guys do the best work fastest, and we're all about quality and speed. So if you guys really want to see how and where the future of design is going, I highly recommend you guys join our community, because all the events, what we're doing here today, the challenges, the feedback sessions that we have in our community, I highly recommend that you join. If you guys want to join, just put join JOIN in the live chat and we'll automatically send you a DM with information about the community. But if you guys have questions about anything Cole has gone over at the moment, I'm looking and scanning through chat really quick. Feel free to ask. I only have my set of questions, but we got some people saying hello. Hello to you too. Um, all right, we got some peeps from Indonesia. Glad to have my Indonesian family here. But I guess that is it.
Fantastic. Well, that's perfect timing because we're looking pretty good here. Actually, just some small adjustments that I'm making now. But yeah, you see how kind of quickly it came together once we had moved everything from two columns into one column. Going from tablet to mobile is actually pretty quick. Okay. Yeah, there's not a whole lot to it. Um, we're just moving a couple things around. Now, this is what I would say generally a simpler design, right? It's not super duper complicated. We are on kind of a time crunch here, but like I said, it's this is there's not a whole lot to it. Now, one thing I do want to add is if you do have a simple layout like this, which you can actually do, and it'll work pretty well in this case. It might get hung up on a few things. Is we can actually use the responsive AI. Now, before I do that, I'm gonna take us through the design just one last time before I go ahead and kind of break things a little bit. If there are any questions right now, please feel free to let me know. If there was something I did that kind of confused you, you're like, oh, how did you get to that point? Just put it in the chat. I'm more than happy to explain, how I did any and all of this. But yeah, otherwise, let's use the responsive AI and see what happens. All right, here we go. Okay, generate now. Let's give it a try. We'll see what happens. It might break a couple things here, but yeah, we'll
But
see
it's
what
all
happens.
good.
I
Well,
was using this
do it
earlier
live.
actually, and it was not bad for this particular design. So um, we'll see what it makes. Um, okay, not bad so far. Oh yeah, okay, hold on. Apply design. Okay, so it didn't change anything up here. This is what we already had. Let's head over to tablet. Okay, yeah, so this is not bad. We have a bit of a issue with this button going on here, but for the most part, yeah, okay, bit more of an issue with the button here, but for the most part, it's not bad. So I mean, use it at your own discretion. If you have very complicated designs, I would say it's probably not going to work very well. But if it's pretty simple, two column layout, one column layout, you should have good results with it potentially. So yeah, that is everything I think that I have. Someone is asking me to go through the design again. I can absolutely do that. Yeah, let me do that. And then there's another question that I have here, Brandon. What's the
Sure
difference
thing.
between Wix Studio and responsive plugins in Figma? So let me answer that question first, and then we'll go through the design again. And then, Brandon, I'm sure you have questions on your end too. So the difference between Wix Studio and a responsive plugin in Figma is that Wix Studio, what I've built right now, this is a real website, right? Like I could publish this, and anyone on the web on the internet could see this, right? Responsive design on Figma is fantastic, right? But it's useful when you're handing it off to a developer who's then going to take it and turn it into a design that everyone can see. But it only lives on your Figma file. It can't go anywhere else, right? Everyone on the internet can't really access it or use it. I mean, there are some prototyping features, but for the most part, if you want, a real functional website, you got to use Wix Studio or some other tool like that. So yeah, I hope that answered your question. So yeah, let's go through the design one last time. It's not terribly complicated or anything, but actually let me hop back onto Figma and show you. I think I have, yeah, here we are. So let me actually show you how I made some of these things because we got a little bit of extra time here. And Brandon, if you have any questions, feel free to take aim at me. But yeah, basically for these interesting gradient sections, all we did is create some shapes underneath here. And then this is just a layer that has a 1% opacity to it, and it has background blur of 71 pixels, and it gives us a really nice effect. So I use that on this and on our button up here, just like so. But yeah, there's not a whole lot to go through on the design front. We've got a gradient here. Yeah, I hope that kind of answered your question. Brandon, are there any questions on your end that we should go through?
All right. Well, actually, no. There was some there was some questions to specifically shout people out. But if you guys have particular questions, let us know. We're here for learning. But Ruchika, if you wanna holler at if you're a designer, you want to learn some questions, things like that, or not learn some questions, have some questions to learn, we can do that. Let me see. Let me go through here. There was actually somebody who was, I think Mario was, or Mariso, saying they don't like Figma. I'm actually really curious why you don't like Figma, because it is challenging to learn, but anything that we do start is challenging to learn. But once we get acclimated, like for example, a lot of people in our community had said before, Wix Studio is challenging. Until the Figma plugin came out, where most designers, the majority of the community of designers, they use Figma, and where we simply just have a button to pull this up into Wix Studio. And actually, one thing that I want us to do, Cole, is because right now a lot of people think that, okay, well, I just see another design, but can we actually publish this thing and actually make it a website and throw the URL over to these people?
For sure, yeah. Give me 1 second here. Done. Awesome. Okay, yeah. Let's sweet.
And
Okay.
let's go to the live site and see what we got cracking.
Why is my live site blank?
It usually
Uh,
takes a quick 5 seconds. Let's just
yeah.
refresh, see what happens.
Okay, let's do it.
Oh no. And also, ladies and
I
gentlemen, just as a prerequisite, literally 2 minutes before we were live, the Wix Studio platform was struggling a little bit technically.
it
It was
was.
crashing. But what we can do, actually, Cole, if you want, send that link over to me in Discord and let me see if I can open it.
For sure.
Not that it would really make any difference. I just want to see. And to those of, I think there was a question. First, there was a question about my tie. I totally got it from aliens. Second question, um, let's see, is, and we're probably gonna have to cut that out.
Oh, yeah. Did I
All
just show my
kinds of
screen key?
information.
Yeah.
But now you just disclosed things that should not be disclosed. Okay.
Definitely, yeah.
So let me see. All right. So the website's not really working at the moment, but let's do this. Let's just show one more time on the. And the only reason that this isn't working, guys, it's not about what we did. The site would work. There's just something going on in the back end with Wix Studio at the moment. But let's
Yeah.
just preview the site and squish just in the preview mode that we have here. And let's just squish the site so we can see that action one more
Let's do it.
time. And this actually took a lot less than we're not even at the 30-minute mark. You know, Cole was
Yeah.
saying that this would take a whole hour. He was like, Brandon, stop me if I'm going too long. This might take a whole hour, but we did it with under 30 minutes.
That was
Oh, and
pretty
it
quick.
totally just
Yeah.
erased.
Yeah, that's not
This
fantastic.
this is what we were talking about, guys. So whatever's going on at home base at Wix Studio today, for whatever reason, they're having some issues at home base. And Cole told me this 2 minutes before we went live, and he was like, listen, I can show you how to make the thing responsive, but this isn't me. The back end, for whatever reason, there's some stuff going on.
Yeah.
And it might erase the entire site while we're doing it. So with that being said, I want you guys, this will be a recording and all of this is still viable, okay? Regardless of which studio is having issues or not, usually they get fixed within about 5 to 10 minutes at home base. But what I want to share with you guys, everything that Cole shared with us today is 100% can do and will work when you guys do it yourselves. All right, just because the website didn't pop up doesn't mean Wix Studio doesn't work. It's literally just because they're having errors and they're letting everybody know there's something going on with the platform right now and they're working on it. But we wanted to share with you guys how easy it is. Took under 30 minutes to take a site while we're talking too. Like if you guys are probably just like having your morning coffee and just, you know, hitting a button and just moving things, you probably would be able to take your Figma file from finished thing in Figma to a real life site simply. And for those of you guys asking questions, do we do live workshops? This is one of them. Every Wednesday, we try to have a live workshop here with you guys to show you how you can develop your skills as a designer of the future and to be able to build the cool things that you want faster and that are live, not just sitting in a file on your computer, but something that is more than a prototype, but that actually lives on the internet and can be used by other people and showcases that you're not just a designer, but you're actually an engineer and can build living things that people can interact with on the web. With that being said, let me just look one more time because you guys might have some questions in relation to the plugin, the platform, and I just want to, I know my chat goes really fast, so I just want to check here because we do have some time and Cole, let's do the same. And this is kind of last call for questions, concerns, things about Wix Studio. We would love to answer them for you. So we're just going to take the time to answer your questions for the next 5-10 minutes, and then we'll close out. And if anything you guys kind of want to re-see, we'll send you guys the recording of this in our community. So if you haven't joined our community and you came late or you want to watch the whole thing as a whole, please put join in the live chat, JOIN, and you'll get an automatic DM for when for how to join our community. And we will also put in our Discord where you can rewatch the replay. All right. With that being said, while you guys get your questions in the chat, all right, let's see. It says, I really feel designers do too much to please a client with little regard to how developers code it. Elite Core, I would love for you to elaborate on that because the things here, it is designer focused. We just did something where we didn't need to know how to code. We just built what we wanted to build, set it up, hit a button, and it comes to life. Like I think there's a really big misconception, and Cole, you can add in here, the world that we're moving to in regards to tech, design, engineering, dev. Yes, we still need developers, but in the world that we are today, there are developers building tools like Wix Studio that empower creatives and non-technicals to build things on the internet without knowing how to code. So for example, I have a YouTube video short that almost has 1 million views, and the top #1 comment from developers is designers happy face, developers sad face. And it's just like, if you are a developer that cannot build this in less than 30 minutes, good luck, you'll be fired in the next 2 years. Okay? Because Cole just did something in 15 minutes in a workshop while talking and entertaining, and he can ship that. Yes, there was some issues in the back end with Wix Studio where that just happens. But and I'm not just that happens all the time. That today, for whatever reason, that's just going on right now.
Yeah.
But he took his design, put it together, made it responsive, and can literally hit publish, and it is on the web in 15 minutes. If developers are sitting there writing paragraphs and soliloquies in code to put 2 pieces of content on a site, like, you're out of date, AI is going to kick your ass, has kicked your ass already, and these platforms that are coming out are going to kick your ass next because they're utilizing no code and AI. And I highly recommend you guys get on this train, because if you don't, you think AI is scary. Imagine AI with other platforms coming out and everybody's just using the things and you're not. So, all right, that was a long-winded thing. Let me get to the rest of the questions. Cole, you had anything to add to that?
Yeah, I got a important one here. Is Wix safe to use with the crash and all? And yes, absolutely. This was kind of a one-time thing. It's been plaguing us for the last 30 minutes, all of the last 30 minutes. Hasn't really happened before. So yeah, absolutely safe to use. They even have a site history. I'm sure if I dig through there, I could dig up what we made for sure. Don't sweat that at all. Been using it for like what, 5 years. First time it's ever happened to me. But then there's a couple more that I got here, Brandon. Um, Recently I tried Shopify Figma plugin, but this seems easier for me as a designer. Yeah, like I mean, Wix is built to handle e-commerce, things like that. But it's also much easier to customize, right? It is a design tool, right? It's built for designers. Shopify is not, right? Good luck trying to customize a Shopify website beyond what they let you customize. It's not easy. I have absolutely tried that in the past, and I've been digging through code like crazy trying to fix that. So yeah, if you like this, try it out. It's totally free. And then yeah, if you got any pre-made Figma sites that you've got, just throw them on a Wix Studio, see what happens. You know, give it a try, and yeah, see how it goes. I got a couple more here, Brandon. I'm
Sure,
gonna
go ahead.
rapid fire
We
go through
can
them.
we can go through these.
Is there a tutorial on how you can use Wix on YouTube? It sounds really promising. Yes, absolutely. Brandon has a fantastic YouTube with I think several of these workshops that we've done in the past for Figma to Wix Studio on his channel. And then if you literally just Google Wix in YouTube, they have their own YouTube channel with everything that you'll need to learn about Wix to get up and running right away. So yeah, check that out. And yeah, Google Brandon Groce, and his YouTube will come up too.
Sure.
I tried using Wix Studio, but for some reason I found it difficult. Hope this plugin will fix my struggle. However, could I connect with the CMS that we have in Wix Studio? Yes. I'm not entirely sure what that means. Yeah, the CMS in Wix Studio you can absolutely utilize for any of your needs. I don't know if you're asking if you'll connect to Figma, which the answer is no. In that case, the plugin is simply to bring designs from Figma to Wix Studio. Nothing else. It won't take the animations or anything, but those are super duper easy to create in Wix Studio. So yeah, don't sweat that. Yeah, that is all the questions I think I've got over here for now, Brandon. But if there are other ones, please feel free to let me know. We'll go through them.
Sure thing. We got a few things. So some of the people are asking, does Wix code bloat the site? Now the thing is, every platform that you use, you have to optimize. If we're talking Wix and WordPress, and we're talking about bloat, WordPress is already the king and queen of bloat. Like, I know WordPress has the majority of the websites out there as the platform things and the internet and websites are on, but we're transitioning. So really the question, and that really the question you're asking, is there a way to minimize bloat or excess in a site so that it runs fast? Absolutely yes. There's people in our community who literally specialize in this, where they use Wix Studio, they know exactly, and they're coming from platforms also like Webflow, excuse me, WordPress, Elementor, and they know and have practiced how to get their site super fast, even with a ton of content. They have e-commerce sites. Every platform has its pros and cons. It's just how exactly, and not just pros and cons, there's some things that are just a little bit outdated. Pros and cons, and the shit is old. So let's go with pros and cons and new things that are utilized with, for example, like Wix Studio has AI implemented into it. You can tell it what exactly you want your site about. Like, if you don't have to work, you can either work from scratch, or you can work from scratch and with AI and basically tell Wix Studio what kind of site you're trying to do, and it will help to build some of the web pages you need based on what you're trying to build. So if any of you guys are familiar with a Reloom and you've used that site to help build websites, wireframes, site maps, and it all does it to you, does it for you automatically with AI based on the type of site you've told it that you're looking to build in like a paragraph form, you can do the same thing with Wix Studio. And I also want to share with you guys, there's a huge distinction. There's Wix Classic, which we're not talking about, and there's Wix Studio, which is the new product. So hopefully you guys don't, because we kind of, some of the new people in our community, sometimes the first thing they think is we're talking about Wix. We're not talking about Wix Classic. That's a little bit older, and it's used for a very different demographic and somebody who's looking to do a build it yourself and it is not too technologically savvy. We're designers. We need responsive. We're building for tech. We're building for the future. That's Wix Studio, and that's what our community is focused all around. That's what we do events on. Every Wednesday, we have a month, whether it's our challenges, whether it's events like this, sharing with you guys each and every week. Something a little bit new about Wix Studio, or just showcasing its features. For example, like the new feature, the Figma to Wix Studio. All designers, or the majority, are using Figma. And the whole thing is, how do we get designers ready for the next state of the future? We're designing right now. We're building prototypes, and I think I saw in the chat, like, we're so used to just building prototypes. Build a prototype, send it to send it to the rest of your team, the engineers, the devs, your clients, so they can see how things will work. That's starting to get a little old. The designer now, the creative person, can build, design, and ship very easily, just like we did here today with Cole, in a matter of like 28 minutes while talking, while going back and forth, and also you guys telling me that I'm on mute for 10 minutes. So if he can do that in like 18 minutes, the developers should not be crying. They actually should be joining Wix Studio 2 so that they can do it in 10 minutes versus the creative doing it in 18. So with that being said, I think that is all the questions for now. But really, I just want to end today by saying, join the community. Okay, guys? If you're interested in learning more about Wix Studio, put Wix or Wix Studio in the live chat down below. If you want to join our community, learn more, and actually get access to more of our exclusive help, feedback, and really just also have access to the Wix Studio team, please just put join in the chat down below. We can't wait to see you guys in the community. And I believe I'm trying to give you guys just a last minute update. Our challenge, if you guys are interested in joining our challenge for August challenge ends August 23rd. So you still have a little bit of time to get your submission in. It is space themed. So that means we can't promote anything related to space, but I didn't tell you that you can't not do Star Trek, Star Wars, things like that to add into your submissions. Okay, I said not. Wink. Okay, anyways, all right, guys, have a great day. Cole, do you have any closing remarks for us today?
No, that's everything for me.
All right, beautiful. All right, guys, if you guys can't figure out the automated messaging thing in the live chat, again, if you want to do Wix Studio, there's a space. So Wix space Studio, or just Wix. Keep it simple. You'll get an automated DM. And then, yeah, we'll see you in the community, guys. Thank you guys for showing out. And there will be a recording of this in the community later today. So if you came late, definitely join the community so you can watch it. Take it easy, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye.